All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Stock Analysis Friday. Today is May 24th, 2024. My name is Bennett McDowell with TradersCoach.com. Great to be here. All right, so pretty good sell-off in the market yesterday. It's kind of bouncing back a little bit today. At least it's not going down. It's not exactly taking off, but not doing too bad, holding its own across the board. So anyway, we'll see what kind of stability we have today. We have, of course, Memorial Day on Monday. So I want to wish everybody a happy Memorial Day, and the markets will be closed on Monday as well. All right, I'm going to go through a few administrational items first, and then we're going to kick in and take a look at some of the charts today. First thing I want to talk about, of course, are the risks involved in trading. Like I always say, without those risks, there are no opportunities. So the two really go hand in hand. But we want you to be aware of the risks, fund your trading account with risk capital. And then, of course, do your trade risk on each and every trade. In other words, when you go into a trade, have a place where you know you need to get out if the trade does not work well, and exit, and then make that exit represent a percentage loss that you can handle. I have books that teach you how to do that if you need help. We also have some great online study courses as well. All right, and then finally, just run anything past your financial advisor or whoever manages your money to be sure what we talk about here is suitable for you. I don't know your personal situation. They certainly do. And since we deal in a realm of probabilities when we enter the markets, there are no guarantees. So always, always use risk control. A couple books I mentioned are available here. Money Management for Traders can help you on that risk. I have my new book, The Art of Trading, published by Wiley, is coming out this year. We're probably be out actually in a couple months. So I'm pretty excited about that. You can order that on Amazon. It's going to be a pretty big book. It's about 500 pages long now, and it's going to cover pretty much what you need to know to be successful in the marketplace. Again, we can't make any guarantees. Everybody's different, but the material will certainly be there for you. All right, I've got several other books as well on Elliott Wave and so forth. All right, when we look at charts today, we're going to be using software. We've been in the business now for over 30 years, and we've created quite a bit of software used by hedge funds and private investors and traders, active traders, day traders, Forex traders, futures traders, you name it, and they're probably using our software at some point. Also, too, we're using, I think our software is now in over 82 countries worldwide being used. So it's pretty prevalent out there. If you want to learn more about it, you can go to our website. I'll put some links in the recording, or you can go there anytime, and we have videos on how it all works. We have charting software, we have scanners, and we have risk control software. And because we cover the main slices of the trading pie, so to speak, we call that the ultimate trading system. And yes, it is AI because it does determine what's good in the markets and what's not. So you can check that out. We have trials available that you can take on the software, but we use that on all our charts. And then finally, give us a like, subscribe, and share. All right, we're always trying to grow the channel. All right, also too, go ahead, I'm gonna go full screen here. Go ahead and type in any of your stock or ETF picks you want me to look at today into the chat area here, into the comments area, and type those in caps for me, and do no more than 3 at a time. That way we keep the flow going and everybody gets a chance to get represented. We'll be here for quite a bit of time, so grab a cup of coffee, enjoy, and let's get started. I'm going to start just quickly by going over my layout here. We use the NinjaTrader charting platform. It's a great platform. And then my layout is pretty custom, and then I put our scanners up here at the top. Probably won't be using those today because you're going to be giving me actual stocks to look up, obviously. Then I have charts at the bottom with all our software in it as well. This is the 60-minute chart, which represents an intraday or short-term time frame of the market we're looking at. This is the daily chart, which gives us an intermediate glance. And then I have the weekly chart over here, which is the long-term chart. So the reason I bring up 3 charts, and when I type in a symbol, all 3 charts are of the same symbol. The reason I do that is I give a short-term look on what's going on, an intermediate look, and a long-term look. And then I analyze that using our software. I look at the Elliott wave, I use fibs, and I determine whether there's a trading opportunity that way. And it works out really well for me. And then also too, if I was, putting in a live trade, then of course I would determine the risk control too. I just happen to have up here right now, I happen to have BTC, which is Bitcoin. And, we're very bullish on Bitcoin. Our target for Bitcoin is basically 87,000 to 106. We're sitting at about 68,150. So in terms of Elliott wave, this is a 3. We got a 4. I think we're probably working our way up into 5. I want this to get above this high here, which represents an Elliott wave B, to confirm that wave 4 is over. It is possible to go into a complex correction and come back down into this lower target zone before it goes up here. So that's why we want it to clear B wave so we can take that possibility out. So that's kind of where we're at now. Even if we do go into a longer term correction and it comes down again, the long-term charts are so bullish over here that we certainly expect more highs nonetheless. So very bullish on Bitcoin, but as traders, we'll be looking for the next high going into 87,000 to 106 as a wave 3 top on the weekly chart. And we will get out at that point and wait for the market to do a more severe correction in Bitcoin before we go back in. So that's kind of my quick take on Bitcoin. All right, let's see what you guys want to look at here. All right. Yes, good morning and happy Friday and happy Memorial Day as well. All right, so I'm getting kudos on the technology. You can see everything okay, and you are hearing me. That's always a good help. All right. So let's take a look at silver. We're getting a lot of questions on silver. And on silver here, we have more highs coming. We're in a pullback. So this was a short-term top that we hit. So here was 3. We came down to 4. And now we hit the target, short-term target on silver. But I want you to see on this indicator I developed here called the PTF. This has a 75% accuracy rate. And on the daily chart, which is the one in the center, all right, notice it's green. So there's a 75% probability at some point it will return and make another high. Now, it doesn't tell us when that's going to happen. That's not the purpose of that indicator. That indicator lets us know if we have a final top or not, and we don't, all right? So basically what we're seeing here is a little profit taking at this point, and then we should see some more highs. We also, too, haven't had a hook in here, and so usually you get a hook towards the end. So I don't think wave 5 is quite over yet, and we should see more highs in it. Now, that's short term. Long term, I'm thinking pretty good things for silver. We cleared the high here back in 2021. So I think this thing is going to continue to go. All right. So I think if you're long-term hold, I think you are A-okay. All right. So definitely, if you're in silver, I would just basically hold it at this point. Now, the other thing I want to look at is UNG. Now, UNG, I issued a buy on, as you remember, a while back, and it's done extremely well. It's not done yet. It's still going up. Our target is about 46 to 66 long term. Short term, we hit the target at 20, and it's not done. So it's going to go back into the target, and you can see that from these green PTFs telling us that the top is not in yet. So I think probably a little pullback still, all right? And then I think, UNG looks pretty good. I'm going to put UNG down as a buy. I'm going to put silver down as probably a hold because that's still coming down. This here will come down a little bit more, but I still think it's not a bad buy as well. So keep that in mind. All right, that's UNG. And then finally, I want to also look at USO. And USO is also one. My target on USO is around 100 to 124. All right. Now, we've been in a little bit of a pullback, but in terms of the Elliott wave, notice I don't have any green PTF. So this is going to be a forecast primarily based on fibs and Elliott wave. So I still think wave 4 is unfolding. And after this completes, we should have a wave 5. So this is a target zone for that completion at around, again, 100 to 124. That's the zone for it. So that's kind of where we're at now. And that is USO. All right, GBTC. Let's take a look at that one here. All right, so GBTC is the ETF for Bitcoin, which we covered, the first one that we covered this morning. And again, this same type of pattern. This is a great, the GBTC for basically people that want to participate in Bitcoin but can't buy the actual coin, for example, in their IRA or something. GBTC is really super to help you with that and get exposure to it, even in an IRA. You know, IRAs can be very restrictive on what you do. You can't really short. There's, you can't do futures, so you have to stick with stocks or ETF equivalents. So GBT fits that requirement beautifully for Bitcoin. So here's another one here, more highs coming on GBTC, just like Bitcoin. So definitely, keep a monitor on that. All right. INO, let's take a look at that one here and see how that one's doing. All right. So INO, we looked at last week and it started to perk up. You can see this on the weekly chart here. Started to perk up off its bottom. All right. So that's a good sign. We've got green here. Kind of stalled out a little bit and went sideways. But again, it may come down a teeny bit more, but I don't think it should go below the $8 figure. So if you're in this, I would hold it. You should be rewarded with certainly more highs. Okay. So there's that. All right, Kumar. Yeah, thank goodness it's Friday. That's not a stock symbol. That's a good one. That's a funny story. I remember when I was doing the Trade Station morning market briefs a few years ago, people used to type in, when I was new there, a person typed in GM, and I thought he meant General Motors, but he really meant good morning. So it was pretty funny. So I appreciate Kumar you saying that to me. Outstanding. All right. Anybody have any ones they want me to look up here? Let me know. Type them in caps. Okay. Applied Materials, AMAT. Let's see what's cooking with that one. Semiconductor long-term company here. All right. So that's been coming off as well. And we had a green PTF on the weekly. So I think we're kind of getting at a top of some point, meaning that we should have some profit taking coming in. But I think this is still in an uptrend, obviously. So keep that in mind. All right, let's take a look at some more out there. QQQ. QQQ is the ETF for the NASDAQ. And up and away. So we're basically past its target right now. So it's continuing on up. And what I like about this is it's pretty well behaved itself. So we had a 3 here. Beautiful ABC target for 4 here and 5. Okay. Now we're going to watch this one pretty closely, but we have bearish divergence here, and here. Is it possible we could get one more high? Possible, but it's setting up for a top. And I'll tell you why, because we got this little hook on both the time frames now. So once this hook completes, all right, then we have to be pretty careful here. In terms of a long-term situation, let's just draw in some fibs. Let's get rid of the short-term fib here for this move that we anticipated and put in the longer-term situation. I'm going to open up this weekly chart for a moment, and let's see if we can gauge where this thing is going. And to do that, on these long-term ones, you want to go back far enough and find the second bottom for wave 2. And so there we are. So the ultimate top here is around 491.42 up to 637. So we got a little bit of room to go. Now, we may get a slight pullback along the way. Nothing is straight up, but this hook could certainly now continue on up to the target. So I think we're getting close on the indexes to major highs. I don't think it's going to come this month. We'll see, but it certainly could. because we're close enough to make that happen. My forecast really for the overall markets, including the NASDAQ here, is probably okay until after the election. I'm thinking a major bear market in stocks going into 2025, all right? Maybe starting to sell off later this year. I don't think the sell-off yesterday was the sell-off for the beginning of the bear market. I don't think so. Some people do. I don't think so quite yet, simply because we have not significantly reached these target zones. And it's an election year, and I think the Fed's going to do everything they can do to keep the market spurring along here. Okay, so we'll see what happens with that. If certain price levels are taken out, for example, if we go below some of these critical points, like down here on the NASDAQ, if we go below 342, then I'm concerned. Otherwise, you know, you're in an uptrend, so stick with that. But it will end when we get into that target zone at some point. All right, let's go on to NVIDIA. All right, NVIDIA cranking on up. Our target for NVIDIA, as we mentioned before, is 1,015 to 1,340. All right, so that looks pretty good. We got more highs coming. Now, this target here, let's be perfectly clear on what we're doing here. This target here is a wave 5. As you can see, 3, 4, 5, shallow 4, by the way. All right, but when we get to the top of 5, according to the Elliott wave, there are waves inside waves, right? So this will be the top of wave 3. So after wave 3, you got a significant correction that will last quite some time and maybe be in tune when the overall market sells off. I think when the market sells off, all right, some tech stocks will do better than others, and tech stocks will generally will do better than other sectors in general, because we live in a tech age now, right? So they're not going to get as hurt as some of the other stocks that aren't involved in tech. That's my opinion. All right, so basically NVIDIA reaching a top. If I was trading this, not necessarily as an investor, but trading this, I would probably get out in this target area here once I see negative momentum coming in. And Bradley, you know, you can always come here and we'll take a look at it together. But the idea here is that then you want to wait it out and then get back in after you have a major wave 4. The wave 4s on the weekly chart, don't forget, correct between 38 to 61%. So that's a significant correction. All right. Now, for those of you that have long-term portfolios and you're like, well, you know, I've had NVIDIA a long time, you know, my tax capital gains, tax gains would be huge on this, so I'll ride it out. Okay, I get it. All right, that's a discussion for your financial advisor. But, you know, you can also get inverse ETFs. In other words, you can hedge your overall tech portfolio with inverse NASDAQ ETFs, like the SQQQ. SQQQ, 3 Qs. All right. So, you know, that's a way you can protect some of your portfolios without having to incur large capital gains. So talk to your financial advisor about that and get some advice. But if you're a trader, I would probably get out at the next significant top. And don't just get out when it reaches a target zone. What you want to do is then reassess it and see if there are more highs possible, and maybe trail your stop up a little bit under some significant support areas or even some price bars, and then try to go up with the market as far into the target zone as you can. All right, a lot of people just exit at the target zone, but I don't think that's the greatest strategy. Now, if you wanted to exit like maybe a 30-year position and keep the rest on in case there's a quick reversal, you could do that. But anyway, that's a game plan that you have to solidify in your trading rules, okay? And then PayPal, PYPL, all right, is the next one here. And this is one here that, you know, from the weekly standpoint, we have a possible breakout. And what I mean by that here is that we went above this price bar here, which is kind of what you want to wait to do. So we had a pull up, a pull back, and now we're going. So The only issue that I see that we could fall into here is a little bit of sideways motion before it continues. And so I think, that is possible. We got a red PTF here. If you're in it, just stay in it. Have your stop. I'd have your stop at least under here, okay, around 55. But if you're not in it, why don't you hold off until this chart over here, the 60-minute chart, all right, is more bullish. Then you might be able to get into at a good price again, okay? So wait for that. My target on this one is short term up to 144 to 202. So what's significant about this trade is we're anticipating a bottom here, okay? Don't have your stop so close. Just keep it as far as possible. If you want to put it under here, that's fine. But the point is that this bottom's got to hold, because if it doesn't, you'll be out, all right? Then you'll have to try again. And that happens, okay? Sometimes that happens. But I wouldn't sweat it necessarily if you're long right now. Let's see how much volatility. You usually get some volatility. You want to pull back like this. So let's see how that sorts itself out. And it should, okay, once it does sort itself out and that bottom holds, it should return with vengeance back to the upside, okay? All right, thank you. Good one. All right, Kumar, let's see what we got here. All right, so good. So you're long the video. I covered the video, okay? So you want to probably stay with that one. You're close to the target. All right, AMD we have not looked at today yet. We did look at that, I think, last week or the week before. Yep, okay, so we were pulling back into a wave 4 target zone. All right, so we completed that. And probably now it looks like this could be over. I'm going to put a buy on this on AMD. And let's talk about what I like about it. Okay, so we've got a 3 here. All right. We had a red owl. You have to have a red owl for a 4. We're climbing out of 4s. Now we have a green owl with bearish divergence that should stay bearish. So I think we're beginning wave 5. So that's a good thing. We've got a pyramid entry. So you've got to move up a pullback. Now let's see. We have an A, looks like a B, and C is as long, if not a little bit longer than A wave. So that's fit the requirements. There's no reason not to be long AMD and remain long. Now let's take a look and see where, we have a short-term target here. So let's grab our extensions and map it out. And so I'm thinking here you got about 225 to 277. We got a green PTF indicating that this high will be taken out. So that'll put it into the target zone. So AMD is a really good buy for today, okay? So you need to put your stop at least under this pyramid here, okay? So the low in that pyramid is 150.39. If you want to put it at the bottom and lower your trade size, you could do that, all right? But nonetheless, this is one to be in, okay? So excellent. Let's take a look at Tesla. Okay, so Tesla, it's been struggling a bit, all right? It has a green PTF. Now, this is what I'm telling you here. It's basically in a major 4 at this particular point. I don't think it topped here at all. I think it's probably major 4. Let's see where we are in that long-term correction area here. All right, so pretty much, we went down here, we went down here. This bottom's holding so far, all right? So, and it's not going into wave 1, so you're fine with a wave 4 analysis there. If this short-term bottom here holds, which is basically this, I guess, here, then we should start to move up. And then our next point of contention is here, maybe a little sell-off after that. But again, that's the zig and the zag that you get inside the waves of a larger time frame. So it's not my favorite, okay, but it's definitely turned around. If you're in it, since that's what you're telling me, I would hold it, okay? I think if you've suffered through it this far, I don't know where you got in it, but if you've been in it a while and suffered through this far, all right, now I think it may be turning around, okay? I don't want people to go into it yet simply because I'd like it to prove itself a little bit more on this little swing up. hasn't done that yet enough. In other words, I can't draw a trend line in to the upside yet. I can draw one to the downside on that time frame. So we don't have much push through yet on this move up to solidify that we are in a higher high and higher low situation yet. So that's kind of where I would handle that. So put it on a watch list. Let's put it on a watch list. Why not, right? And watch it and see if we get that confirmation over the next week, and we'll keep looking at it. All right. Great. So let me see where I am on that one. That is Kumar. All right, gotcha. All right, Kumar, you're good. Eleanor, you're the next one. All right, LPG. All right, long in all these. Good. LPG, let's take a look. Now, most of my analysis here, as you can tell, is basically short term, okay? And the reason I say that is because long term, these things have moved up so much that we're getting close to a significant long-term top. So when you're long in something already, and the short-term charts tell me to stay long, I'm going to tell you to stay long. That's not necessarily a reason to be buying it if you overhear that, okay? It's just because all these markets are getting close to the targets, but they're not quite there yet. So why not keep them until they hit those targets, right? So that's kind of the reasoning behind that. So you do have to be a little careful. All right, so we're still in wave 3 on LPG, okay? So we're still moving up here on the weekly chart. And so at some particular point when probably the overall market's top will probably go into a more significant pullback. Now, what's interesting is that we're looking for a pretty extended bear market in the overall markets later this year. And when I say you're going into a wave 4 on some of these weekly charts, don't forget, they're coming down at least 38 to 61% for a fib retracement. So that's a major correction in itself. So just because they're only in wave 3 doesn't mean wave 4 can't be devastating. And wave 4 is what the Dow Jones and all the NASDAQs are going to go into as well on their long-term charts. So we're reaching wave 5s on the dailies, which is wave 3 tops on these long-term charts across the board. So when I say a significant bear market coming, what I'm saying really is a wave 4 on the weekly charts, okay? So keep that in mind. Believe me, that'll be bad enough. All right, so let's see where we are here. Let me grab and see if we can get some fib extensions for a target, because I don't think we've looked at this one really. So what I like to do is go back far enough to kind of, let's open up this chart to get an idea of where we think, okay, so that's a low here. So we're talking right around in here for our wave 2 low in drawing these things. So fib extensions, let me see, I think right there, okay, here and here. So I'm thinking my top on this is 57 to 72, okay, 57 to 72 if you're in it. If you're not in it, I wouldn't go into it, okay? The risk to reward's not there for you, okay? So stay with that one, all right? SMCI. Oh, one more thing I want to do, okay? So let's say market for some reason backs off when we don't quite hit our target zone. Well, you know, you got the pyramids here to protect your downside if that happens. So you use a pyramid, but you stay long with the hopes of reaching into the target. And then when we reach into that target, then we start ratcheting our stops up even closer. Okay, and that goes for any stock we look at. All right, MCI. Let's take a look at SMCI. All right, so same type of thing here. You know, we're still in a wave 3. We've got green PTFs on the long-term charts. Our next question is wave 4 over? We've had a move up, a move down. We have a pyramid. That's a good sign. All right, let's just draw in here the wave, the target. So this is a 3. Notice the owl telling us that. We had a red 4. We had a, it looks to me like a B, C. C is as long, if not longer than A wave. So that's probably a high probability wave 4 bottom. All right, now let's draw in where we think the target is on this. And we have, let's see where we got. I would say right about here, here, and here. Let me just double check that. Yeah, okay. So 1293 to 1682. And this is exactly why I'm saying that I don't think the market is going to top this month, because we have not completed wave fives on all these individual stocks. So we've got to get up to these targets before we can really say we're in a topping situation. All right. So MCI, I'm going to put on the buy list. I think it's really good. Put your stop down here at the pyramid, which is a low of 762.63. These pyramids are part of the ARC trading system that identify high probability entries and places to put your stops. All right, which is your emergency exits in case things fail for whatever reason. All right, so there you have it. All right, so there we are, good. And then CELH, so stay long that one. And ooh, this is a good one. So notice we hit the target. All right, so when we hit the target, then you got to be careful, right? Because we are in the target. The target was 98.46 to 118. Now, this is where our PTFs and all our indicators come in really, really good. So you don't have a new pyramid yet. You may get one forming under here. Okay, so that's one thing. So your current stop is fairly far away. However, when you hit a target, you can move your stop up some. And I'll show you about that in a minute. So you have 3, you have 4, and 5 bearish diversions, but check this out, a green PTF on these time frames. This indicator is so helpful when you've reached tops of the fibs and you're wondering if that's all it's going to give you. So I go down to the PTFs, don't forget 75% probability. It's basically saying this little price bar here is not the top. We're going to go back into the target zone. So tell me how that is not helpful information when you're at a possible top and you don't know what to do. Okay, it's huge, right? Huge. So I would hold this. And when this turns yellow, which is neutral, all right, then you may want to really ratchet that stop up under each price bar. Keep it close. But for right now, I would stay long. Now, that does not mean you can't get a pullback before it comes back up. That's not what the PTF is telling you. All right, it's just telling you there's a 75% probability of more highs at some point. Okay, so the next thing you want to do in terms of stop loss placement is you can, of course, use the pyramid, because the pyramids are there for a reason to allow a pullback. But you could also draw fib retracements for getting an idea on the possibility of where this could pull down to before it makes another high. And that fib retracement is about 88 to 81 bucks. And then it should find support in that zone and go high. Now, it may just go high right now, but if it doesn't, that's the worst case scenario. So if you were uncomfortable keeping your stop low on this pyramid, you could just make sure you have it below 81, okay? So you survive any pullback, but you want to stay long on those, okay? All right, let's move on. Good, Eleanor, that was excellent. All right, Jim, VRT. Hi, Jim. VRT. Jim is in our day trading room. So I've known Jim for quite some time. Jim, we're kind of like family by now, right? All right, so let's see what we got here. All right, I'm assuming you're long. I don't want to put you long here or anybody else because you'd be chasing this market. Now, that doesn't mean it can't go higher. But the problem is the better trade would have been, of course, way in the beginning, right? Okay, so there's just more risk when you get in late, because if you get any type of fib retracement, that could be 30, 30 to, 31 or 38 to 61% retracement, right? So then that would stop you out for sure. So, at this particular point, I don't see this topping in terms of long term, but I do see a pullback on the daily chart coming, and that's what you want to be careful about. Okay, but stay long. I'd have my stop at this pyramid. This is an ideal pyramid to put your stop on. So that's a low of what, 93.10. So a couple ticks under that, 93.9 or something or below. Okay, so not one for anybody new, but if you're in it, stay with it. If you want to get in it, wait for the pullback. Okay, you'll be happier. All right, let's take a look at your next one here. SOXL. SOXL. XOXL. All right, so, all right, green PTF. Now, on the green PTF, just so you know how it works, when you have a green PTF on any time frame, basically you find the highest price bar in that green area, and there's a 75% probability we're going above that. So that would be this price bar here, okay? Not this one, okay, but this one. So if you're in it, you can hold it when it turns yellow. All right, you can think about it. But then now let's take a look at the overall situation. And let's go to the chart here and see. So we got a 3 of 4. So let's use our fib extensions here and see where we can plot. Let me just make sure I get the right point here. Okay, yeah, that point's fine. All right, so let's use our fib extensions. We'll draw those from here to here to here. We are close to the target. And that makes sense because if we get to that target between $56.77 up to around 73, that's also going to verify the PTF on the weekly chart. So that's your target. I'm not going to recommend this for new people because we're already close to the target. But if you're still long, definitely stay there. Okay, definitely stay there. All right, Eleanor is back with a few more here. Let's take a look at hers. AV. All right, and see what's cooking on that. All right, and I assume you're long on these. We have that little pullback, and then now we have another move up. We're still in wave 3 on the weekly chart. All right, so we can get rid of this because that usefulness is done there. All right, so at this particular point, green PTFs on both the weekly and the daily. We have a nice pyramid stop down here, fairly far away from pricing. So it's trying to allow you some volatility on the pullback. If you want to get out before the pullback, use the 60-minute chart and have your stop right here because we're pretty close. Bearish divergence. So on the next pullback, for example, your stop would be around 195.5. Okay. And then on the retracement here, you can expect, let me just make sure. Yeah, that's okay. Let's see. Actually, it's here. Okay. On the next pullback, you can expect a pullback to 178 to 165. And then after that pullback, you will have more highs. So now it becomes a decision is, do you want to suffer through the pullback for the reward after, or do you want to trade it and get out here, get back in here, and then ride it back up? All right. So that's a decision whether it's a longer term play or a shorter term play. But more highs are coming. I'm not going to recommend it because we're already at a short term top. All right. Let's take a look at Oracle, ORCL. Okay. So Oracle hit our top here. And now you're starting to see it come down a little bit. I'm looking for green PTFs to see if we're going to get more highs. Don't see that. We have bearish divergence on the weekly chart indicating a 3, 4, 5 is in place. So Oracle may have reached a significant top already. And so here's how you want to play it. Okay. Now, could it go back into the target zone? Yes, it could. We've got a green pyramid. All right, I wouldn't recommend it as a long position because even if it went back into the target zone, we don't know how much, and you're already there. So do you see this little point down here that I'm pointing to? If we go below that, this bull trend of wave 3 or 5 is over, okay? If that holds and we springboard back up, then we're going back into the target zone. All right, so I guess if you want to stop, I'd use the stop in the pyramid. That's a perfect stop. That'll get you out just before trouble. And that's that stop there is a low of 115.91. So have your stop around 115.90 or a couple ticks more under that. Okay. All right, that's Oracle. TSM, let's take a look at that. All right, same type of thing here. All right, so kind of interesting. So we've got wave 3 still in progress over here, and you can see that here. We have 3, 4, 5, the inside waves of wave 3 clear here as a bell. And now we want to draw the targets to see if we're there. And I'm going to go over a couple of other things here in just a second on this. So let's grab an extension. Let me just do a couple targeting here. Ooh, okay, so you got a little bit more room on the target. Let me just see if I used a little bit lower here. I think that's probably the right one to use at this point. Let me just see, 1, 2. Yeah, I think that's okay. All right, so there's your target there on that. All right, so target's 172 to 201 for wave 5. So that's probably where we're going up to. Now, I'm going to erase that for just a second. And notice that the PTF has turned yellow. All right, so it was green during the entire pullback. That's okay. It happens sometimes because it doesn't tell you when it's going to make a new high or, you know, how low prices could go on the zig and the zag on the pullbacks, right? But anyway, this looks pretty good. We're probably going to make new highs on this. Again, I would not recommend this to a new person that's not in it. But for you, if you're in it here, hold it, put your stop right at this pyramid, and I think you should be okay. All right, more highs coming. Now, when the next high comes, don't forget, this is wave 5, but this will be the top of wave 3. So then you'll have an ABC, or maybe not that deep, but you get the picture. You'll have an ABC and then a big move back up, okay, when this thing finally tops. So long-termers can hold it. But if you want to get out at the top of wave 3, which I would recommend doing on a weekly chart, you can certainly do that. All right. Let's see what we got here. Mark. Hi, Mark. All right. Pfizer, PFE. PFE. All right. So Pfizer moving off its bottom. We saw this last week. All right. We were kind of following it up and see if it took a pullback where it would go. So we got to move that up a little bit. All right. So here's my thing on Pfizer right now. All right. You know, the pyramids have got you long here. Okay. We don't technically have a green owl here yet. So if you look at the weekly chart, we haven't really had a significant pullback. That's why I drew this in. So unless you're trading this first move up or you don't mind getting in and then putting your stop at the very bottom, which is what you should always do in the first leg up. Don't use the pyramids, because what the pyramids are designed to do is to make you profitable on a swing, okay? And so it's going to track the swing up. But if you're in it for the beginning of a new move, then that means, all right, you want to wait for this and then go here. So if you're going to get in on the first leg and it passes here to do it, then your stop's got to go down here. The other strategy is don't get in on the first leg, wait for the pullback, and then get in, because if the target zone is significant here, it's not going to matter if you get in here, because you're still going to make a ton of profit and your chances of a bottom being put in are significantly higher. So if this thing has bottomed, then what we have here is a target, conservative target of 36 to 43. Okay, so, you know, I would probably wait for the pullback and let's see if we can get up to that target. And it could go even more. Okay, we'll have to wait and see. All right, because if this is a major bottom, then it could just keep going. So again, this is why you don't want to just get out at targets. Wait to see how powerful the move is up in case this is a bottom, and then we'll have to redraw the longer term target zones. All right, but in any case here, I like it, Mark. I think it's great for a long leap is fine, because you don't have to worry about stops. Yeah, I see nothing wrong with that. For the rest of you here that may not be using options, wait for a pullback and then go in. All right, for sure. But again, I think for something like that, if you want to take the flyer and even buy the underlying asset, that's fine too. Just put your stop way down here. Okay. All right. And I'll go ahead and recommend that. I'm going to recommend PFE. I will do that if you put the stop below the bottom. Okay. So you got to put that stop at the bottom. If you can't do that, then don't take the trade. Do a leap like Mark did. Okay. So, all right. Next one. Mark wants to look at BITO. BITO. All right. So BITO. All right, so we got a green PTF on the weekly chart. So that's really good. So no matter what type of correction we're in now, that green PTF gives me a 75% confidence level that that's all it is a correction, and we should have more highs. Short term, we even have a green PTF. So that means this correction is pretty much over, and we should now move up again. So I'm liking that. Now, the next thing I've got to figure out, there's not much history on this. So that makes the Elliott wave impossible on the weekly. Let's see if we can get something. Yes, we got something here. Okay, so 3. All right, so notice we had a little pullback here, but this owl is higher than this one. So this is a 3. So let's see what we got cooking here. Let's do a couple things here. One is, let's first make sure this thing retraced enough for a wave 4, and it did. Beautiful. Okay. Next thing is, let's see where the target is. Okay, target's 35 to 43. That would satisfy the green PTFs. All right, so you need to put your stop on this pyramid here. Should be certainly sufficient. That's 24.68 for your stop. You got about a 24, give you 3. Yeah, you got a 2 to 1. All right, so BITO is a buy for everybody, okay, with a target of 35, 36 to 43. Okay, good job. All right, so I'm liking that. And we have A, it looks like, let's just do one more quick little thing. 3, looks like we have an A, B, and a C long enough here. So we're in good shape, okay? All right, I'm liking that, all right? No Elliott wave on the weekly chart, and you can see why, because it's just impossible to get any type of wave sequencing done on time frames that only go back a year on the stock market. All right, excellent. All right, Frank. Hey, Frank, how are you doing? All right, TEVA. Frank's an old-time friend as well. All right, so let's see what we got cooking. So we broke that red line, okay? We did that a couple weeks ago. I guess I'll remove that now because we had that before. So remove all that stuff. All right, so we're up and away on TEVA. All right, we've got green PTFs on the daily and the short-term time frame. Not going to recommend it right now because it looks to me like we are getting close to a top on the 60-minute, which means that, yeah, we might go up to 1750 and then back down. So I would wait for the back down part to go long, okay? I don't know if you're in it, but I wouldn't chase this. I think you'd be chasing it a little bit, okay? Plus here too, you got the hook up, all right? This is definitely a 3 of some type, I believe. Let me just check and see. Yeah, let's see. This is a 3. That's definitely a 3 in progress. This will probably become a 3 a little bit. All right, and you can see the 3 on the weekly. So, yeah, so you're in it pretty good here. I think I would like to recommended this earlier for you, but I would not recommend it now. All right, GDRX. If you're in it, stay in it, but just beware, okay, that you're near a top. And keep those stops fairly close if you can, but not too close. Use the pyramids. All right, now this one here, we're looking for a break off the bottom. We started getting one here, all right, and then it came down here, but it did not take out the bottom here. So there's the bottom. So that was a good sign. Now I'd like it to get it over here for a continuation of this uptrend. All right, we have a pyramid forming here. All right, so that's a good sign. We have green coming in here. So let's take a look here. So that pyramid is here. We're probably going to get that, I would think, pretty well. I would think this could be an interesting one. Now, what I don't like about this one is the volatility that we're seeing as it bounces along this bottom here. All right. Who wants to get stuck in that? Not me, right? So you want to be careful about that. And so you want to kind of make sure you get a good breakout. I'm kind of thinking at this point, I'd like this pyramid here to turn green. And you can see if you're patient and wait for that, you're still going to get in early enough to make it up at least to the $20 mark. So you'll double your money on that. I think what I'm concerned here is not of getting in and then now and then staying within this channel. I am going to tell you one thing, however, that's in your favor if you got in now. The green PTF is indicating that I believe this is the highest high because this was here, but then it breached here. So there is a 75% probability that it's going above this current one here. So that would turn that pyramid green anyway. So for that reason, I'm going to put GDRX as a buy, okay? If that green pyramid PTF was there, I would not do that. But I think there's a high probability we're going to break out of the channel based on that indicator, okay? So good, Frank. So long trade, and if you wanted to take it now, yes. Now, where do you put your stop? As low as you possibly can, okay? At least probably under this mess here. You want to put it at $5.30. If you can put it even lower, you do it, okay? Let me just see where that is. Give me 1 second. Draw that a little more accurate like that. So when you draw these, I'm drawing them on the fly. Make sure you draw them accurate. Didn't affect it that much, but so yeah. So I think it's pretty good. So the lower you can put your pyramid to ensure you don't get stopped out by sideways volatility, the better. But I'm really hoping because of that green PTF that we're not going to have too much sideways situation. All right, so that's it. All right, Alexander's in the house. So no worries, Alexander, as long as you make it. We all have our schedules, right? All right, so let's see what we got. Looking to go long, Kumar, on CLS. CLS. All right, so it popped up once again. There's the hook. All right. I don't want you to go long. I mean, that's my recommendation, okay? If you're long, I'd stay long. But this hook, all right, you're getting into the mature part, and you've been in the mature part of Elliott Wave 3 now on the weekly chart. We're seeing bearish divergence here, all right? Let me see if I can try to isolate the exact top on this as best as I can from this chart here. All right, so a couple things here, even here, that concern me. That's not, I don't think, a deep enough drop for a major wave 4. So let's just see what we got here. So here was here. Ooh, okay. So this is always a head scratcher. So when it hits the red area here, wave 4s are shallow 15% of the time. Okay. Most of the time, shallow wave 4 represents a hook. It's a wave 4 on the lower time frame. So if that's the case, then we still could be in wave 3 and we haven't seen a major 4, or there's a 15% of the probability that we've seen a major 4. Okay, so this becomes a head scratcher. And what do I say about head scratchers? Unfortunately, if I have to scratch my head too many times, I move on, okay? So that's what this qualifies as, all right? I think even as a recommendation here, at this particular point, you know, you're close to a top. So I would, you know, you're chasing the market, I guess is what I'm saying. So I'd let it come down, okay? Let it retrace and then take a look at it, okay? That's my recommendation. CAMT. And that's, you know, based on my style of trading. Some people like to keep trading, you know, some people will say, you know, the trend is up, I just want to get in. My problem is that, you know, I've been doing it a while. My problem is that for me, my belief system was formed that doing that usually, because the stats always indicated when I did that type of trading, that it didn't work out well, because usually we had a profit-taking wave come in and would always stop me out more often than it would help me. So I changed my methods in that I like to get in early in trends. I've got the pyramids and the software to help me do that. Why not do that instead of chasing high-risk trades? Okay, so you got to be careful about that. All right, now, same thing with this, no different. Okay, yes, it's going up, but you know, if you get sucked in here and it goes into a correction, which is coming, that's the problem. We know it's coming. Then you're going to get the hit on this. So the real question is, if you got in early, which is what I like to do, then this would have been a gravy trade, especially using the weekly chart. Okay, IESC. Now, you know, there are times you want to stay in trades for a long time, and that's usually after a major correction in the market, or a, you know, from an economic sense, maybe after a catastrophe or an economic recession. Then once the weekly charts turn around, usually it's the beginning of a significant leg up, and at that particular point, you can use the long-term charts to just get in and ride that next wave up for quite some time without having to trade it as often. Okay, but that's, you know, again, that's up to each one of us. All right, so it looks to me like we have not had a real, let's see, we got wave 3 here. Let me just see, we have a 3 here. So again, you're looking, you're obviously scanning for markets that have taken off already. All right, which is fine. But in this case here, you're probably going to have one more leg up. I don't think necessarily wave 3 is completed quite yet. We'll have to wait and see. But again, you know, is it a good trade to get in here, or would it have been a better trade to get in earlier? Okay, and I think we've answered that already. Now, on the 60-minute chart, it is possible to get one more push up. So if we drew an extension here, here, you might get one more push up to 200, which is pretty good, 2 to 225. But again, it's also possible that wave 3 is over, and this is you know, A, B, and we're in C, or still in A. So that's what we don't totally know yet. Okay, so you got to keep that in mind. And if you go back on this chart far enough, all right, it kind of indicates that maybe one more leg up, I think. So one more hook up before it's over. So, I mean, if you wanted to take a trade and try it here, you could do that, but just have your stop really tight under here. All right, I'm not going to recommend it because it is a riskier than normal trade, and it's a short-term trade. All right, Eleanor, back to you. BROS. BROS. Okay, don't know if you're in this one. All right, not much history on this. All right, it does appear that maybe we're breaking out a little bit on the weekly chart. A little messy on the daily chart, but we do have a green PTF. But then we have a conflicting red PTF over here. So I wouldn't go long until the conflict is resolved itself. In other words, this has got to go yellow, and we have to have green here before I would jump into this to satisfy a trade based on here. Okay, so there's not a lot of history. So I wouldn't do anything with that right now. We can take a look at it next week for you. All right, let's take a WMT, go to Walmart, see what's going on with that bad boy. All right, so that one here is going up, I think probably, well, what's interesting here is the owl here is bigger than here. So you don't have any bearish divergence to speak of. We've got green here, so more highs coming. What's kind of interesting here is this is not a 4, all right, because this is higher than this. So we're in the wave 3 area. All right, so how far up is this thing going to go is the next question. I think we're going to have to use the weekly chart to help us with that. And so for here, let's see what we've got cooking as a possible extension. All right, so we're probably going to go a little higher in this target zone, but I think we're kind of at an area here where we could see a reversal. So I guess I won't recommend it for that reason, okay? All right, let's take a look at GCT, however. All right, so let's see what we got cooking here. All right, GCT. All right, not much history. All right, but definitely in a trend up on the weekly chart of some degree. We can use the shorter time frames for where this thing is going. Let's focus on the current impulsive wave here. All right, so maybe a 1, 2. Let's see if we've retraced enough. According to the 60-minute chart, it's not done retracing. But let's see what we come up with. So you're already retraced into the target zone. Ignore this one here. Okay, it wasn't enough to turn it red. So we're in it here, but this is a red PTF here. So unless this turns green, and it could change. All right, I wouldn't go in it yet. Now, if it changes, then let's take a look at where the target could be on this. And you want to use that. All right, so if it changes, then you got a decent target of 49, all right, all the way up to 63. So if this PTF on the 60-minute goes green before we meet again, then that's a possible trade, and then put your stop at the bottom. So why don't we put this on the watch list and come back and take a look at that and see how this did this upcoming week when we take a look when we meet again next week, okay? But no go for right now. All right. All right. Let's see. Frank, let's see. Yes, I count you as a friend, and you say I'm a long-term old friend, emphasis on old. I know, right, Frank? We're all getting old. All right. Let's not talk about that. All right. So let's keep moving on here. Kumar. Thank you, Ben and Jean. Enjoy the long weekend. Hey, you too. All right. Good job on your picks today. Just watch those, just try to, I'll tell you, the markets are great and sucking us in sometimes at the wrong time, right? So just be careful not to chase those markets. Wait for a pullback. Try to get in a little bit early if you can, but not too early. All right. So anything else? I think we're kind of done it for today. What do you think? Got a long weekend ahead of us. All right. Let me quickly go over what we found here. All right. Let me grab my list here, and let's go here, and I'll go over those for you. All right. So UNG still a buy. All right. AMD. I think that was one of our best ones for today. I like that one the best. SMCI was a buy. PFE. Can't read my own writing. All right, keep the stop low is what it says on that at the bottom. Stop at the bottom, PFE. All right, BITO, GDRX. Those are all buys for this week. Now, watch list. I got Tesla, TSLA, and GCT, the one we got in front of the screen right now. So we'll keep an eye on those. So we found what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 today. Not too shabby. So that's pretty good, I think. So good job today, everybody. I'll put a little music on before we call it a day here. And I think we covered everything. I'm looking at the list. That's why I'm looking up for a minute. I've got my list way up here. So yeah, it looks like we covered everything today, which is great. I'll put it on some of the short-term time frames. Let me do that right now. And let me go full screen so you can see that. And we do a lot of day trading. As you know, we have a day trading room in the whole 9 yards. So let me turn that and turn this, and you can kind of see what's cooking. These are left over. These fibs are left over. All right, so let's see what we got cooking on here. This is the micros on MCL. Let me just go and see if we can find something a little more exciting. Let's save the MES. Okay, MES looks good. Let me remove these previous ones from another day. All right, so the MES looks like going into maybe a wave 5 here, okay? So let's quickly see what we've got cooking here. All right, so we just hit the target here. ABC looks good. I would say a long position here, to me, looks good with a target up there. Okay, so that's kind of what I'm thinking. All right, so that looks like a pretty good deal here. So I think maybe we can keep an eye on that. All right, so that is it for today. We'll see you back here next week. Have a wonderful week. I may jump off here and take this trade myself. Okay, so I will see you all later. Oh, and enjoy the weekend. Good 3-day weekend. Markets closed on Monday.